So to use this wig, I'm using ZBrush Core. I know that ZBrush offers free versions of their program that you can use as well. I think it's ZBrush Core Mini, but you can also probably do these same steps or similar steps in Blender. So what I'm going to do is I have my canvas open and I'm going to import my files. So we're going to go to Tool, Import. We're going to just build our wig. What I'm going to do is use the high density objects because in ZBrush I don't need to really care about topology. If you're using Blender, you may want to use the cleaner topology ones. So I'm going to bring in the head base with ears. I'm going to bring in I'm going to bring all of these in, so let's do that one at a time. We got the bang, the head back, jointed ear version, the head base cutter, cutter with ears, and the interior cutter. So I'm going to explain to you a bit what each of these are. I like to sculpt with polyskin, so we'll do that. First off, I'm going to turn perspective off. I'm going to turn off my floor. So this is the interior cutter. This is what you would use to cut the interior of a big blob that you've sculpted. This is just the head base cutter. This head, all of these head cutters are slightly inflated, so they're bigger than Kabbit's head, meaning you'll have a gap between your hair and Kabbit's head, which is what you want because we need to account for resin shrinkage or like just friction. So everything in here is ready for you to sculpt and go. So this is the hair back that has the jointed ear. This is the hair back that is also for the jointed ear. Oops, I imported that twice. Let me import the regular one. There we go. This is the regular hair back. This one's for jointed ears if you want to make the wig work with jointed ear, Kabbit's heads. This is the bang piece. And then this is the head with the ears so that you can sculpt around the ears. So I'm going to use the head with the ears. I'm just going to turn all of these on. I'm going to not bother with the jointed ear ones just yet. So what you would do is you would just start sculpting your hair. And you can just blob it right on there. We're going to just pretend that this is the world's best hair. Here, I'll make a pompadour. Just because that's fun. I'm going to use snake hook. And we're going to just make a real goofy basic hair. All right, so we got pompadour Kabbit going. Oh yes, the best. So when you're sculpting, I would recommend sculpting your hair in separate pieces. So like the front piece and the back piece, because we have this seam right here. This is so that you can put the wig on. Okay, so we'll pretend that this is the world's most amazing swirly pompadour hair. I'm gonna also give it some sideburns here. I want it to fit around that ear. I need a little bit more geometry, so I'm going to Dynamesh this. Okay, perfect. So it doesn't have to look super clean right now. We have our amazing, perfect pompadour Kabbit wig. Hooray. So let's say that we've got the front piece of the hair all finished. What I would do is I would cut it right here. So that it's perfectly flat. You know, clean it up and stuff. Because we want it to be perfectly flat on this side. We don't need this. Let's delete that. Okay, perfect. So we've got the front, and it's perfect and totally exactly how I want it, and not at all just a dumb example of a silly wig. And it doesn't have to be flat right here. You can have it curve back a little like that. You just want it to be flat up here where these pieces are going to meet. But we do want to make sure that we're not hitting the ear. And we are, so I'm going to pull this. And, you know, you could just make that look better and better. Okay, so we're also going to make our hair back, and I'm just going to make another big circle. And we're going to pretend that he's got, like, some cute anime hair, so we're going to just, you know, you would sculpt the hair how you want it to look first. And then you make it work with the head. So we got some little spikes, some little anime spikes. Maybe we want one of those ahegao. Perfect. Okay, awesome, fantastic. And I try to make my wig, as close to this head cap seam as possible. So I'm going to make this a little bit shorter in the back and push it around here like this. Because I don't want this wig to get too heavy when it's printed in resin. So I'm going to try and keep it, you know, flattish. I want it to go here. But we also want it to look good, so I am going to pull it up just, well, I'll push this down. There we go. Like that. And we'll go up just a little bit so that we got that curve. We'll push this down, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So let's say that this is perfect and happy and we're done and we did the most beautiful job sculpting it and it's not at all a disaster. I am going to clean this part up right here. Shove it so that it intersects with that. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to just delete this extra stuff. Oops. That was an undoable action, so I have messed up. Gosh darn it. Alternatively, we can also just take the head back. I don't want the jointed ear version. And we can sculpt right off of this as well. So we'll just do that and pretend I didn't mess everything up. So I will just give this some. I have to be careful because I don't want to warp anything in here. So like if I pull and I don't want to warp this stuff. You don't want to mess with this. This is where it connects. It's not such a big deal down here if we pull it down and stuff. Come here, gosh darn it. Snake Hook, you're fighting me here. Okay. This is the most amazing hair ever in the whole wide world. Perfect, stunning, amazing. Okay. So since we have just altered the... Let me hide these so that you can see it. Since we've just altered the outside of this one, we don't have to do any cutting in here to clean it up. But if you like to sculpt your hair using spheres, and you make one like this, and it's like, ah, yes, this is perfect. Perfect. But you have this big old lump in here. We don't really want that. So what I would do is I would use your interior cutter, which is this one, that's gonna not eat the magnets, and I would use this to cut your hair. Okay, see how it's got rid of most of that stuff? So then we can just clean it up and we can merge it down onto this beautiful hairpiece that we've made. Ah, yes, the most beautiful hair. So this hair, we'll say it's done. It's done. We haven't messed up any of this stuff. Any of this. We didn't mess up any of the magnets or this or this. The things you don't want to mess up are where everything touches. So that would be here, this little lip here, this lip. You can mess up the inside. This and this. Effie, you're eating my pillow. Don't do that. So when you transform and make this into hair, make sure you don't mess up these kind of spots. You want to keep those the same. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our giant beautiful head blob here. Oh, look. It's perfect, but we have to make it work with our wig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the head base cutter with ears, and I'm just going to cut this out. Bam. Perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my bang piece. Cool, now it's not really messing up the inside. What I'm going to do now is just clean this up. Get this extra topology out of the way of these magnet holes. Like this. Perfect. So now what I can do is I can just fuse these together. So we're just going to merge it down. And in ZBrush I can turn it into a Dynamesh and I can smooth this stuff out. Oops. Smooth, smooth, smooth. I have to be careful not to smooth and hit the insides of these though, so I'm going to make my brush tiny. And you can again make hair by extruding off of this if you're using Blender. You can use the Blender meatball cube things or sphere things. This is just how I would do this in ZBrush. Smooth all this out. And bam. So now when I import, so we've got our bang. I'll name this bang. And then I'll name this head back. I'll send it back. So now if I import a Kabbit head, let me import one here. And hide this other one that's in my way. You can see that there is going to be a gap between the hairpiece and the head. That's perfect. That's what we want. That's why I have that head cutter object. That's what this is for. It's just slightly bigger than the regular Kabbit head. But now our wig is done and we can decimate this to 20K and export it as Pompadour Bang. And then we would decimate the hair back to 20K and export that as Pompadour back. And it should just work with our Kabbit. Hooray! Because these little areas right here on the sides, this should have enough, like this should be thin enough that it can flex when you pop it on over the head. If it doesn't, you can always just edit your model and pull it out just a smidge. But I don't think you need to do that. But that's how you would make a wig. So we're just going to pretend to color it and thank you. Thank you very much. I hope that that makes sense. I don't know. I don't use Blender, so hooray. We did it? Question mark?